What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers are starting to go through their draft prospects and work several guys out. We've seen a whole list of guys that the Lakers have done their first wave on. Did a whole video about that. Definitely check that out if you want to know all of the ins and outs. But I want to kind of go through some of the guys that I really do believe make a lot of sense for the Lakers and for them to draft. Some of the guys that they've worked out are very likely going to be even undrafted guys. And it's kind of just the Lakers doing their due diligence on guys that maybe they could get late in the second round. You know, you've seen the Lakers really love to buy a second round pick or get undrafted guys. And the Lakers have had great success with guys that have gone undrafted or late in the second round. So I think some of the guys that the Lakers have started working out are that rather than like, oh, this is the guy we're going to pick at 17th. This is the guy we're going to pick at 47th. But the Lakers have had a couple guys, and which I want to highlight. I highlighted one already. Go check that out. And Leonard Miller. I think he is a great prospect and somebody that you could definitely go pick up with the 17th pick. I think that makes a lot of sense. Another person I really want to talk about is DaRon Holmes, who they worked out with in that same pool with Miller. And DaRon is very similar in a lot of ways to Leonard. And I think that DaRon at number 47, if he's there, I think you have to get him. 6'10", 20 years old, 225 pounds, just a solid athlete, a guy that played for Dayton, a guy that can give you quality production. He was a 18-8 guy, gave you 2 assists, shot 60% from the field, shot 31% from three, 2-year player in the NCAA. So he's a guy that kind of fits the mold of what the Lakers like, especially for role guys, but he does still have a lot of upside. I don't think he has as much upside as Leonard Miller does, which is why I think Leonard Miller makes a lot of sense for the 17th pick, and Holmes makes more sense for the 47th pick. And based on projections and stuff like that we are seeing, Holmes may actually be there with the 47th pick. He's a guy that is projected late, like really late first round to like middle of the second round guy, but he is a guy that is supposed to be drafted. And he's, again, a guy that can give you solid production on both sides of the ball. He's a guy that gave you 2 blocks and a steal. He took care of the ball. He averaged 2 turnovers per game. So he's a guy that can give you quality production on top of being able to rebound and defend. That's what the Lakers need. The Lakers need two-way defensive guys. Now, Holmes, again, is a guy, at least right now, a guy that you probably want at like the 4 spot, that you could play in the 5 spot at times. Him more so than Leonard. Right? Leonard Miller, I talked about in that breakdown. Again, go check out that breakdown. In that breakdown that I talked about Leonard Miller, he's a guy that you probably are going to draft, grow, and develop as your 4, maybe even your 3. Think of like a Michael Porter Jr. type guy where he's not really going to bang as much down low. He can, he's capable of it. But he's more of like that perimeter guy, mid-range guy, can get to the basket, kind of back to the basket type guy, where DaRon Holmes, he's a guy that can come in, be that 4 spot, or I think you can develop him into that 5 spot. I wouldn't even mind if the Lakers drafted both Holmes and Miller. I think it wouldn't hurt at all. You could play both of them side by side, both 6'10", both got good wingspans, both got good size. Holmes is also a little bigger, and that's why I think you put some muscle on him, you put a little more mass on him. Right now he's 6'10", 225. You get him 6'10", 260, somewhere around there. I think that this is a guy that could be your starting center for the foreseeable future. I really do. Now, he's a guy that might take a couple years, right? So when I talked about Miller, Miller is all upside. He's a guy that, like, his ceiling could be like one of your top 3 players on your roster. Where Holmes, I think he's probably he's a guy that could develop into like maybe like a Robert Williams, something like that. Maybe that's not the best comparison in the world, but it's the one that comes in my head immediately in line. Guy that can just be kind of a shot blocker, physical, high motor, high engine, takes care of the ball, is as efficient at scoring the basketball. Not a great free throw shooter, not a great three-point shooter, but he has the ability and he has the stroke a bit to be able to do so. So you may be able to kind of develop him and work him out to become that guy. Which, if you can get him to be any type of floor spacer, and I'm not saying he has to be elite, right? I'm not saying he has to shoot 40% or anything like that. I mean, obviously that'd be great, but can he be a guy that can he just shoot league average 35% as like your center power forward combo guy? Like, he's a guy that I think could come in and immediately have an impact as well, right? I mean, look, he at worst to me, I think would be a 6'10" winning Gabriel. Like if the Lakers drafted him at 47. Immediately, I think he's a guy that could come in and be a 6'10" winning Gabriel. High energy, you're not going to ask him to do much. You just need him to rebound, defend, hold his ground, hit some shots from time to time, be a lob threat, be a guy that, can get some putbacks and rebounds. And I think that DaRon Holmes could be that. I think he could be that guy 100%. I think if you draft Holmes with the 47th pick, I think by the time the season's over, people are like, oh man, the Lakers got a real gem. Like, man, how come nobody drafted him sooner? I don't think, like I've talked about Leonard Miller and how when you look back in this draft, like you could see him and be like, man, that guy might be, a top 3 to 5 player in this draft. DaRon, I don't think will be that. But I do think you look back and go, like, man, he was one of the quality guys, right? Like, think of like certain draft classes, right? There's the 3 or 4 guys that are usually like the standouts, the big stars. But there's usually 3 or 4 guys that you look at and go, man, that team got a real pick. Like, he should have been drafted, 12th rather than 47th, right? That's what I think we'll get if we were to draft DaRon. Now, of course, you never know, right? I mean, there's lots of guys. I mean, look at Jokic. He was drafted during a commercial in the second round. Like, nobody thought he was going to be a guy that he became, right? And it's not like DaRon's 22, 23, 24. He's 20, 21. He has a couple years under his belt, which again kind of fits the Lakers mold, what the Lakers like. The Lakers like guys that have had a couple years in college that understand the game better, understand the structure, understand their roles better, that can come in and kind of fit that precisely. Like, that's what I think he could be. But you never know. I mean, he could easily turn into, a Miles Turner, right? Like, I could see him easily coming in, being a guy that can block shots, stretch the floor, be a high energy, high motor guy, give you play on both sides of the ball, give you a couple assists, drop a couple dimes. I could honestly see DaRon being a 15, 8, and 3 guy, or 2 guy, meaning blocks, right? Which that is basically Miles Turner. Miles Turner gives you, 15 to 17 points per game, gives you about 2 to 3 blocks per game, and gives you about 8 rebounds a game. Like, I think Holmes could be that. He might need a couple years to do that, but I do think he's a guy that could come in and make an impact right away for the Lakers. And I do think he's a guy that could get a rotation. Not heavy. You're not going to play him 20, 25 minutes or anything like that. Maybe. I mean, if he's that good, right? I mean, look at like Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves really earned his role. But in reality, you're probably having him come in, play alongside Anthony Davis, play behind Anthony Davis, and play 10 to 15 minutes per game. And in that time, can you give us, 8 and 5 with like a steal and a block or something like that, or a block, whatever, right? Can you do something like that? If you could do something like that, that is a steal, right? Because that's a guy that you can grow, you can develop, you can build with. He could be a huge part and a huge piece for the future. And with the look, when you're drafting in the second round, especially with like a 47th pick, You're hoping to just get a guy that is at worst a rotation guy, like a bench guy that can be your seventh, eighth guy off the bench. Like, because that's what you're looking for at that point. Every once in a while, you get the Draymond Greens of the world, but usually you're just, hey, can we find a guy that can come in, be a quality player, don't need him to do much. We just need him to be a cheap rotation role player guy that can give us quality minutes. Can he do that? If he can, great. That was a home run type of pick, right? Like, Lakers have had a lot of great success with drafting in the second round, but none of them have turned into like superstars or stars or anything like that. They've all just been really good rotation, quality type players. That's what you're looking for if you're the Lakers with the 47th pick. And I think DaRon is that. I think he's that guy that could come in, be a quality rotation guy that's going to understand his role, that understands the game, that can be a high motor, be a high energy. Like I said, at worst case scenario, I see him being a 6'10 winning Gabriel, right? And that winning Gabriel was great for us this year and had some real moments for us this year. And so I think he's a guy that could come in and be a solid contributor. I don't think he's worse than some of the backup bigs in this league. And so can you go and get him, have him play the 4, play the 5 at times? Because I do think he can play the 5 at times. I don't know if I'd want him starting at the 5 or, consistently backing up the 5 spot. I think right now he's more of like that, again, winning Gabriel. Like winning Gabriel played the 4 a lot, but he played the 5 at times and small ball. You could do the same thing. You play in the Warriors and Kevon Looney is at the 5. Put DaRon in and have him, match up. But, if you're playing whatever, let's say you're playing the Bulls, you probably don't want him having to guard Andre Drummond, so you put him at the 4, go get another center. That's kind of my thoughts with him. But anyway, I think that he would be a great pickup at 47. Again, you're not picking him up earlier than that. I wouldn't even be shocked if he fell, say, to 50th and the Lakers bought the pick, right? They draft somebody else and then buy him. In that, I don't think he would go undrafted. If he does, that would be wonderful. The Lakers need to snatch him up immediately. But I think realistically, he'll probably be, early to mid second round, most likely. Maybe a team will take a flyer on him late first round. But I think it would be a quality pickup for the Lakers. But anyway, as always, what are your thoughts and opinions? I'd love to hear it. Is this somebody? Draft him. Take him with the 47th. Do you think no? Look at other people. Whatever your thoughts are. However you feel.